The mantra fixed it. My thought for you that I've been playing with this week is very much on how we are dealing with the things in our current life world that seem to be immovable, right? And so I've been talking about it in terms of obstacles and very much Ganesh energy, how we relate to those obstacles. And at the same time, pre-Thanksgiving, my thought for you is, with the way things are currently and where there does seem to be things that are not moving very quickly or at all, or moving in a direction we don't want them to, is don't abandon each other and don't abandon yourself, right? So I played that song for you, The Grace of God, as a reminder, right? Because when we get into the increasing levels of stress of the world and the increasing ongoing levels of difficulty of being around each other and all of our individual stress mixing and intermingling and us trying to navigate that, it's very easy to forget and say, I'm just this being trying to get through this day, or I'm just this being trying to get through this life. And we don't always recall that what gets you through this day, what gets you through this life, is that inner grace, right? That you are not just moving through this lifetime meaninglessly, that what's in front of you is not meaningless. Everything is for your enlightenment. And how is it for your enlightenment? It is to show you, to remind you, to bring you back to the knowledge that you are the grace of God, right? That you are an emanation of that energy that is perfection. So whatever you're going through, as challenging as it is, there's a way through, right? That's the big thing, is that whatever is there is a way through. And the grace of it is that we don't have to know exactly what that is, but we can let ourselves feel free to actually go through it instead of fighting to get through it, if that makes sense. Right? So the practice always is, can you remember, as challenging as the world is, that you are the grace of God? So you bring that into whatever you're doing. You bring that into whatever's in front of you, instead of, I'm locked in that mode of the ongoing stress, is I'm actually in that state of grace, right? That's what we're looking for, that state that I can feel everything that's there, but the obstacle doesn't take away from me the knowledge that I am the grace of God, right? The challenge doesn't take me away from that feeling that I am free to really stay very patient, very compassionate, very open, very expansive. So don't abandon each other, right? Now or ever, don't abandon your own humanity, and don't abandon the humanity of others. That's always our everyday practice. We just say it in 1,000 different ways. So your thought going forward is, remember, you are the grace of God. So when you feel like something is immovable, or that there is no way that you can possibly continue the way that you have, you recall that there is a way through. Maybe not the way that you're doing it, but there is a way through. So you fall backwards into that. You fall backwards into that, and suddenly there's a freedom because you're not trying to push forward. So try that. Not pushing forward in your day, not pushing forward in your life, but instead fall backwards to find where there is that feeling of grace, that there's a way through. Yeah. So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let the eyes close. And every now and then I get very into this feeling that if you don't have a mantra that you are using regularly, I want to shake my finger at you and say, get yourself a mantra. Any mantra. Because it's protection for the mind. It's something that gives your mind an elevated vibration to cling to. So if you don't have a mantra, that's fine. If you want a mantra, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha is the one I've been using this week for Ganesh. Or I am the grace of God. Try that. So with the eyes closed, let your mind settle on one of or a uplifting thought. And if mantra isn't the word, it's something else, let your mind settle on that. So that you begin your practice as something that you are expanding into, not something that you are trying to escape. Cannot escape this body and mind. And the more you try, the more you will be pulled back into it. So expand. It's a teaching of Ganesh. Settling the mind on something uplifting. And even if your mind is not fully settled there, it's still trying to decide what the most uplifting thing should be. Bring your hands to your heart center. Just let the mind keep looking for what is the most uplifting thing it can come up with. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release the hands from in front of your heart. Come forward to hands and knees. Begin some hip circles. I did see the comment that someone wanted hips, so I'm paying attention. Good. Everything is for your enlightenment. So there's no question of if what's in front of you is right or should be happening. The fact that it is happening means that it's right and that it's for you. Move your hips the other way. Oops. And whatever feels like it is very immovable has the greatest power to move something in you. Nice. Come back to stillness, please. Tuck your toes. Keep the knees bent. Press into your hands, scoop your belly, and then lift your knees up off the floor just an inch or two. So toes are tucked. Lift your knees up. So you're in like a hovering hands and knees. Good. And then I want you to pull your knees forward towards your belly. Push your butt back towards your heels. Yeah. Good. Keep your hips low, but pull knees towards belly, butt back towards heels. Good. Keep your hips even lower, Andrea, if you can. Yeah. Good, Allison. Nice, you guys. And then stretch the legs up to straight. Take your hips high to the sky. Good. Let your heels soften towards the floor. Spread through your fingers. Beautiful. Good. Step the right foot forward between the hands, please. Both hands inside the front foot. Walk yourself straight ahead until you're on fingertips. So your right shoulder is, inside that right knee, but walk forward so you're on fingertips. Good. And then cat-cow your spine just a little bit. Good. Nice. Pressing through that front heel. So again, there's a connection to the floor. The connection through your heel is going to help wake up the whole outer leg, which means it's going to give your spine more freedom to move. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Stretching through the fingers. Lift your chest. Deep breath in. Exhale. Stick your tongue out. Lion's breath. Nice. Walk your hands back in, please, towards that front foot. Keep the back heel lifted. Just straighten your front thigh. You can take the hands to frame the front foot if you'd like. Use blocks if you need. Straighten the front leg. Keep your back heel lifted. So pull your back heel up as high as it needs to go so that you can really pull up through your pelvis, pull that right thigh, the front thigh higher to take the leg to straight. You got it. One more deep breath, hips up. Good. And then bend that right knee again, please. Come back to lunge. Inhale the arms up to the sky, high lunge. Nice. Take your hands behind your head, elbows wide. Hug the elbows in just a little bit so you have this feeling that you're squeezing your armpits, and then start to lift the chest, lift the chest, lift the chest. Drop the head back into your hands, but squeeze your inner armpits. Send your front knee deeper over the ankle. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Yeah. Good. Now stretch the arms straight alongside your ears. Keep reaching the chest towards the sky. Again, like you're falling backwards. Good. And then exhale, hands down to the floor, please. Left hand plants right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Push your hips a little wider to the left. So your left hip, your back hip is going to get a little bit more lift. Your right hip is going to scoop under slightly. And then take that right arm over the ear, reaching towards the top of your mat. Good. Open the chest. Nice. And then release that hand down to the floor. Drop your back knee, please. Scoot your left hip back so it's on top of that knee. Wiggle the right leg forward to straight. Ardha Hanumanasana. Good. Drawing the toes back. Both hands inside the front foot. Good. Walk a little bit towards your left. So you're moving your torso away from that front thigh. Turn your toes inward for a moment. So turn in, turn in, turn in. Pull your butt cheek wide. Scoop your belly. And then while you have that right foot turned in, your right thigh turned in, push your left hip wider to the left. Push your left inner thigh wider to the left. Good. And then the belly is scooped. Start to pull that right hip around to the back of your mat. So your toes are going to come to face straight up, but you're still pushing your inner thighs wide. Keep your torso still walk to the left though. So again, you're moving your thigh away from your belly. Good. And then walk yourself all the way back to center, please. Take the hands to the baby toe side of the front foot. So walk the other direction. Good. Pressing the left forearm up against that shin. Again, widening the inner thighs. For some of you, maybe if you want to go for the twist here, take that right arm to the sky or to your hip. Good. Or if it's still too early for that kind of nonsense, stay where you are. Good. And then release back to center. Really good, you guys. Beautiful. Pull your right heel back in, come back to lunge, move your weight forward, lift that back knee, and then take your right leg up and back, down dog split. Good. You got it. Nice, Stacy. Beautiful. You guys keep the legs straight. Stack the right hip on top of the left. Open. Squeeze your left heel in. Yeah, so Jeannie, just keep that knee straight. Keep your legs straight. The one that's in the air. There you go. Flex your foot, everybody. Good. And then scoop your belly. Turn those right toes back down to the floor. Widen your inner thighs. And start to walk your hands back towards your left foot like you're coming into standing split. Good. If you've got a wall behind you, bonus. Walk your foot up the wall. Good. Keep turning your pelvis down towards the floor though. So if you're using that wall, you still got to turn your outer right hip down towards the floor. Scoop your belly. One more breath. Awesome. Walk your hands forward again, back to down dog split, and then release the foot down to the floor. Bend both knees deeply. Cat cow your spine. Good. Nice, you guys. Remember that you are not pushing through this moment. Purpose is not to just push through to get forward, to get beyond. But it's to actually stay exactly where you are and feel expansion. Good. Come to stillness. Let the legs come to straight, hips to the sky, heels softening. Spread through your fingers. Can you feel your arms softening up into your shoulder socket? Or does it feel like you're collapsing into your arms? Yeah, that one. Okay, left foot forward between the hands. We'll work on that. Good. Both hands inside the front foot, please. Keep that back knee lifted. If you can, walk your fingertips forward. So your arms are extended, spine is extended long. Cat cow your spine. Good. If you need to drop the back knee here, totally fine. But having the back knee lifted again gives you a little bit more kind of strength of your legs. It encourages a little bit more flexibility through your pelvis because you're actually staying really awake. Dropping the thigh changes the stretch, but it still is a good one. Good. Come to stillness, please. Long arms, long spine. Deep breath in. Don't drop your head. Exhale, lion's breath, tongue out. Nice. And then walk the hands back in, please. Good. Frame the front foot, please. Straighten the front thigh. Pull your back heel up, 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 up. And straighten the front leg. Good. Again, blocks under the hands. Great idea. Nice. Keep pulling the back heel up so you get that lift through your pelvis. You get the lift through the front of your back thigh. Again, you're integrating the legs up into the pelvis. Good. Deep breath in, squeeze, and then release. Bend the left knee again, come back to lunge. Right hand plants left arm to the sky, spinal twist. I know I forgot a high lunge in there. I'll get to it. Good. Push your right hip wider to the right. If you were hoping I would forget, sorry. Good. Take that arm over the ear, please. Left arm reaching. From your top of your left hip reach. So pull your left thigh crease back and down and pull your armpit forward and wide. Nice, Lauren. Good. And then release that hand down to the floor. Inhale the arms up to the sky, high lunge. You are the grace of God. Don't get locked into the, oh my God, this is a lot of work on my legs. The grace of God is that you have legs to do the work. Take your hands behind your head. Good. Hug those elbows in just a little bit. Pull your rib cage in and then start to lift your chest. Let your head fall back into your hands. And as you let your chest fall or rise, let your chest rise and your head fall back. Let your thigh pull forward. So descend into the lunge willingly, gratefully, as your heart goes higher. Good. And then stretch the arms to straight, please. And from your arms pulling up, bring yourself back up to center. So feel that you actually get a lift from under your armpits as you come straight up. Nice. And then release the hands down to the floor. Awesome, you guys. Drop that back knee. Move your right hip so it's on top of the knee. Left leg comes forward to straight. Come up on the heel. Ardha Hanumanasana. Good. Blocks under hands. Great idea. Try to make sure that your right hip is really on top of your knee. So if you're forward or back, again, you're going to get stretch on that thigh or you're going to get stretch on that leg, but try to just let it be a neutral, stable position, right? The left leg is doing plenty of work. Good. Both hands inside the front foot. Walk to your right just a little bit. So again, you're making space with your torso, moving it away from the hip. Good, Sandy. And then turn those left toes inward, pull your inner thigh in and wide, push your left butt cheek wide. And then while you're there, push your right thigh, that supporting thigh wide. Good. So you have that expanding energy in both directions. And then scoop your belly. Start to draw that left sit bone, that left butt cheek back in towards the midline of your mat, but keep pushing your inner thighs wide. Keep your hands exactly where they are. Just work the rotation of the legs. So your toes should be coming more up towards straight up and down. So you're rotating your leg truly from your hip. What a concept. Good. And then walk yourself back in towards that front foot. Move yourself to the baby toe side. So both hands to the outside edge of the leg. Keep pushing your inner thighs wide. Right hand can plant on the floor or a block. You're pushing the forearm against the shin against the forearm. And again, if you want to go for the twist here, left hand to left hip or left arm to the sky. And if the twist feels like a poor choice, stay where you are. Good. Nice, Lena. Beautiful, Alice. Slowly release. Come back to center, please. Good. Bring that left heel in. Come back to lunge. Send your weight back onto that front foot. Lift the back knee. And then take your left leg up and back, down dog split. Yep. Left leg up and back, down dog split. You got it. Flex the foot. So you're reaching out through the heel. And as you reach out through the heel, I want you to really push through your spine. So pull your hips up and back. So you're taking that weight out of your wrists. Good. Now stack the left hip on top of the right. Turn the toes to the side. Good. Again, as though you're widening your inner thighs, pull them away from each other. So it's going to feel like you're actually kicking that outer edge of your heel up towards the ceiling. Good. And then scoop your belly, please. Turn the toes back down to the floor like you're coming into standing split. Again, working from your pelvis. Nice. And then walk your hands back towards that right foot. Coming into a deeper standing split. Again, foot can walk up a wall if you have a wall behind you. Nice. Keep turning your outer left hip down towards the floor, whether you have your foot on the wall or not. Good, Laura. You got it. And then walk your hands forward again, back to down dog. Good. Release that left foot down to the floor. Inhale your breath. Drop your knees to the floor, child's pose. The grace of God, child's pose. But it is something to notice if our tendency, when things become difficult, if our tendency is that we narrow our perspective and we get into that mode that I'm just going to push through, I'm going to force through so I get to somewhere that feels easier. I was saying yesterday that Ganesh, because he's an elephant, he brings a lot of symbology, but one of them is that the elephant has the ability to, in a stampeding form, destroy, right? It can destroy forests, it can destroy villages, it can destroy everything. But it also has the capacity, the delicacy to be able to pick a flower, to paint without disturbance, right? And so it's the difference of if your mind gets into that mode of I just want to push through, and so I'm willing to destroy whatever's in my way, even if that's part of me, I'm willing to destroy it. Or the part of you that's able to stay exactly where you are and pick out the places where there is space, to move delicately into the places where you can expand. Walk yourself back up to hands and knees. Good. Bring your hands to your hips, please. High kneeling position. Good. Stretch your right leg out wide to the right. So your heel is in line with your left knee. Take your arms out wide, letter T. And then you're sliding the right hand down the right leg. Left arm comes over the ear. Good. So some of you are literally on the heel with your toes up, which is fine. If you prefer that variation, that's fine. The other way is to have your foot flat, toes more forward. So either one is okay, whatever makes you happy. Good. Reach a little longer, everybody. Yes. Good, Mark. Nice. And then bring yourself back up to center, please. Good. Reach the other way. Left hand comes out and down to the floor. Right arm comes over the ear. Good. Breathing your rib cage as long as you can. So send your left rib cage, that's the lower rib cage. Try to move your armpit longer away from your hip. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Hands to your hips. Bring your right knee underneath the right hip so you're back to a kneeling position. Good. You can curl the toes under here if you'd like. Coming into camel pose, if you want to put a block between your thighs, you can. So hands start at the lower back, palms to the sacrum, fingers pointing down, and you're drawing in through your low belly. So I want you to puff into your hands. I want you to actually feel your sacrum expanding back into your hands. So instead of already trying to push forward, I want you to push back through your seat. Good. So you're not necessarily arching the spine, but you are pushing back, drawing the ribs in. And then feel against that, the lift of your chest. So your armpits get taller, your collarbones go wider, your throat draws back, but you don't lose that feeling of fullness at your sacrum. Start to hinge back, please, moving your butt back towards your heels. Keep your ribs pulling in, keep your low navel in, keep that pressure against your hands. Your sacrum is wide. Good. And then heart to the sky. Rotate your shoulder blades under so that your chest lifts, and then just let your hands hang. Don't even reach for your heels. Just let them hang. So you're supporting yourself from the navel. You're supporting yourself from the back. The hands are hanging. Don't reach for something to support you. Reach for inside to support you. Good. And then come all the way back up. Navel to spine. Good. Drop your hips back to your heels, forehead to the floor. Nice. And if that's your new least favorite way to do camel, you're welcome. If you thought you didn't like it before. Good. Hands reaching towards your ankles. Roll up onto the crown of your head. Lift your hips up off of your heels. Expand into your back body. So pull the navel in. Breathe all the way into the space at the low back, through the ribs, through the backs of the shoulders. And then release the hips back down to the floor. Good. Come up to your high kneeling position, hands at your hips. Left leg goes wide to the left. Good. Heel in line with your right knee. Stretch your arms out wide. Good. And then left arm extends down the left leg. Right arm comes over the ear. Nice, you guys. Mark, maybe move your foot forward a little bit more if that's bothering your hip. Yeah. Good. The faces you guys make are sometimes very interesting. Come all the way back up to center. You get to imagine what's happening based on what your face is doing. Reach the other way, right hand out and down to the floor, left arm over the ear. Good. Literally everything is for your enlightenment. When something happens and you wish that it hadn't, the answer is not just how do I get past it as quickly as possible. The answer is also how can I stay in a state of feeling that this is an opportunity for my own growth. That there's a place for me to understand my expanded self. It's not for me to just get narrow and push. Good. Come all the way back up to center, please. Nice. Take that left knee back underneath the left knee, underneath the left hip. So both knees underneath the hips. Tuck your toes again if you'd like. Second camel pose. And again, a block between the thighs if you like. If you need a blanket underneath your knees, make sure you have it. Good. Hands to the lower back. And again, I want you to get really used to this feeling of pressing your lower back into your hands and noticing what that feels like. So again, it's not arching the back, but it's actually trying to lift the front of the pelvis and expand, draw back, and then soften your ribs in and pull your armpits up to extend your spine. Good. So we get out of this habit of thinking that back bending is just pushing my hips forward and trying to draw my shoulders back. It's that it's actually really from your armpits. It's the side body length that matters. So get super long and then start to hinge back, push your butt back into your hands so the front of your thighs don't get hard. And then extend, lifting the armpits higher and rotate from your shoulder blade. So you're still lifting the chest up even as you come deeper into the back bend. And then let your hands hang, again, intentionally not reaching for your heels. Good. Armpits up and fingers reach towards the floor. Good. Throat back, navel in, press those shins down. And then navel to spine, come all the way back up. Good. Drop your hips back to your heels, forehead to the floor. There are certain poses that in my mind, I have this dream of having an entire class that I can have you do the poses that I'm thinking of. I haven't gotten there yet. One is handstand, where everybody is in handstand at the same time. The other is drop backs, where you start in a standing position and lean all the way back into a full wheel. So don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to do that today, but it's my dream. Good. Hands reaching towards your ankles. Please roll up to the crown of your head, round your back. But to have that inner feeling that you trust and that you are steady so much in yourself that you are willing to fall backwards instead of trying to push forward to move through something, that you're willing to fall backwards and say, maybe I need to just stay here. Maybe I need to just actually feel more, even if it's uncomfortable, because beyond the edge of that discomfort is freedom again. Drop your hips back to your heels. Good. And then walk yourself back up to hands and knees, downward facing dog. So Ganesh, they say that he rides out of the infinite, doorway to the infinite. And every obstacle that is placed in front of you, he places them there to get you to come back to the awareness of where the infinite is. It's like those little exit lights on the floor. It says, this way, dummy. Right leg up to the sky, down dog split. Good. Step that foot forward between the hands, lunge. Back heel comes flat, baby toe parallels back of your mat, cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. Good. So there's a widening of your front knee. And as the knee widens, your butt pulls in towards that midline. And then bring your right forearm onto your front thigh. Left arm comes over the ear, side angle. Again, reaching, your hip is drawing down towards that back heel, but your armpit is pulling up. Good. So Jen, C, pull your ribs in and then stack your left rib cage a little higher. Yeah, so you open more. Nice, you guys. Good. Push into your right forearm for a second. Lift your chest a little more and rotate, heart to the sky. There you go. Good, Marjorie. Cartwheel the arms back up to warrior two, please. Good. Stretch that front leg to straight. Coming into triangle pose, come up on your heel. Yep. So you got to squeeze the feet towards each other and then extend right arm, right rib cage forward. Bring that right hand down to the floor or a block, left arm to the sky. Good. And again, the feeling here that you are really engaging through the legs. So again, having the toes up means that you have to actually focus on the muscles of your hips, the muscles of your thighs that are stabilizing you. Good. And then release the toes down to the floor, please. Nice job. Left hand to your left hip. Press into that hand, so round your rib cage up towards that hand. And then for fun here, if you have a block, grab a block and place it to the baby toe side of your front foot. Left hand stays at your left hip. Look down at the floor maybe. Press your right hand into the block, and it has to be right under your shoulder. So press down into that hand. You're curling into your belly. You're curling into your ribs. Take your weight into your back foot. And then I want you to extend your front foot off of the floor. So swing it forward towards your nose like it's going to come parallel to the floor. I know you're looking at me like, what the hell is she talking about? Good. Try it. Lift that front foot up off the floor. However you can imagine doing it. Press into that right hand and float that right foot up off the floor. It's going to swing slightly towards the left edge of your mat. Good, Laura. You got it, Alice. Nice, nice, nice. And then bring it back. If that made no sense to you, don't worry. Good, Emily. Bend that right knee, please. Release the hands to the floor. Downward facing dog. Don't abandon yourself, even when you're handed something that doesn't make any sense. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push-up. Lower down slow. Good. Rise up, cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Nice. Drag those hands back, Lena. And press those shins down. That's it. Downward facing dog. Good, Allison. Left leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. Step the foot forward between the hands. Drop the back heel. Baby toe parallels back of your mat. Come into warrior two. Good. Arms straight out from the shoulders. Yeah, so for a second, can you feel here, turn your palms to face forward, your thumbs to face up, and then feel as though you're squeezing your hands towards each other, like you're hugging a big beach ball in front of your chest. So the palms are facing forward, straight from your chest, thumbs up. Feel as though you're squeezing. So squeeze something huge in front of you. Good, so your armpits engage. Now draw the shoulder blades towards each other on your back without losing that squeezing. So your ribs don't pop forward, but you suddenly have this awareness of your chest being wide and your back engaged. Good. Now turn the palms back down. Good. And then maintain that. Bring the left forearm onto your front thigh. Take the right arm over the ear. So that means that as you reach the arm over the ear, you don't just pull the arm out of the shoulder, is you actually draw it in and widen your chest. You widen your chest from your chest. Does that make sense? Yeah. If it doesn't, just do what you're doing. Susan T, move your top right thigh back in space. Yeah, there you go. Good, you guys. And then press into that left forearm so you actually open that shoulder more, rotate the chest more. Nice. And then cartwheel the arms back to warrior two. Good. Straighten the front thigh. Come up on your left heel. Triangle pose. Reach the left arm forward, left rib cage forward. Touch down, front leg floor block, right arm to the sky. Good. You got to use the big muscles of your legs and actually work the strength of your hips and for your hips to really let go. And this is part of the teaching of Ganesh too, is that if you had no obstacles, you would have no idea how strong you are. You would never develop the resilience. You would never develop the skillfulness that you have. So don't seek to just escape the obstacles. Don't try to just get around what is immovable. Let it move something in you. Become, again, the remembrance that you are the grace of God. Release that foot flat to the floor again, please. Good. Right hand comes to your right hip. Good. Push up. So even if you're not going to go for the crazy balance with the block, do this anyway. Push your hip up into your hand, push your ribs up. So you round into that right side, the top side of your rib cage. Good. Because that's going to, again, create more stretch, more power in that back thigh. And then if you're going for the balance, you're taking a block to the baby toe edge of your front foot. Good. Right underneath your shoulder. So you're pushing straight down. So you've got the power of your back. And then you've got to engage your navel. You've got to engage internally, push up into that right hand and see if you can lift that front foot up off the floor. It's not easy to do. So if it feels like it's difficult, 100% of people agree. It's difficult, but fool with it. Try and find where there's the strength in you to lift up enough, and the mechanics, right? That's why we need the block. Our arms aren't long enough for this. Good. And then release it back down. Really good, Sandy. That was good. Good, Nancy. Awesome, you guys. Bend the left knee, release the hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Pedal your feet, wiggle your hips. Even if you only had a vague attempt at that variation, good job. Good. Come back to stillness, please. And then right leg comes up and back. Bring the right knee forward and wide for pigeon. Sliding the left leg back. Again, sending your pelvis as level as you can. So the top of your right thigh crease, right low belly is going to pull wide. And then the outer left hip is going to spin forward. Good. And then you can start to walk yourself into your forward fold. Keep your pelvis in that position. Top of right thigh moving back, top of left hip spinning forward. Nice active front foot. Good. Take very deep breaths. Not just because it feels like that's how you survive pigeon. But take very deep breaths, because as things feel, as you feel that there is that restriction, there is that intensity coming from the outside, is that you don't mirror that inside. We call that internalizing, right? When you take what's happening outside and you start to turn it into your experience inside. So don't internalize the craziness of the outside world. Whatever is rising up from within you, fine, let it be there. But remember that intermixed with your own experience of tension, your own experience of emotion, your own experience of whatever it is that you're feeling, is that there is that grace. And grace is knowing beyond logic that there's a way through. And so maybe that means you relax in the moment and you don't abandon yourself. So Allison, I would actually recommend for you is to drop your knees the other way. And then press that right foot down into the floor and work at lifting that knee up, and the top of your right thigh and your right sacrum pushes down to the floor. So it gets a little bit more into that hip rotation. I'm sure it doesn't feel as good as the other one. Nice, you guys. Take one more breath. Good. And then walk yourself back up onto your hands. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Good. And then pull that right knee in towards your chest. Hover, hover, hover. And then step your right foot right between your hands. Lunge. Good. Drop the back knee. Anjaneyasana. Use a blanket there if you'd like. Inhale the arms up. Good. So two options here. One is to take hands behind your head. Do that variation where you are, again, lifting the chest, dropping the head back into the hands. The other option is to drop the arms alongside you like we did in camel, and letting the fingers drip towards the floor as you lift your armpits up, chest up, and lean back to allow those fingers to reach towards the floor. So either option, right? Whatever makes you feel supported. If your fingers are reaching for the floor, you got to pull your ribs in. Your belly has to move back away from your thigh. That's the trick here. And you got to drag that back knee down and forward because your back bend begins with your back thigh, not with your back. Good, Andra. Nice, Sandy. Good, Laura. Nice, Marjorie. Beautiful. Navel to spine. Come all the way back up, please. Good. Release the hands down to the floor inside the front foot. Round your back a little bit. Yeah. Pull up. Beautiful. Because you're going to love what I'm going to ask you to do next. So hands on either side of your front foot. Maybe with blocks if you have blocks. You don't necessarily need them, but try this. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Good. Round into your back again. Can you from here hover that right knee? Or let's try this. So bring the right leg up and back behind you, down dog split, because the way I was going to ask you to do it was a little bit mean. So take the leg back. Good. Bring your knee forward towards your chest, armpits over your wrist, like we often do. Round your back, squeeze in. Now, is it possible for you to look forward, extend that leg through your hands into Hanuman? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Use extra steps if you need. Yeah. Good. Nice, Stacy. Good. Awesome, you guys. Back thigh can stay lifted in Hanuman, but find full Hanuman. So Lauren, come up on that front heel. Yeah, full Hanuman, full split. Don't be afraid. Good. All right. Now, equally obnoxious. Can you now press into your hands, lift that back knee, and pull yourself all the way back up to down dog split? Pull that leg back and through. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys, you're making me so happy. Release that foot down to the floor, drop to your knees, child's pose. Don't cry. We've got one more side to do. You have 2 legs. The incredible thing is, though, is that in your mind, if I had said to you, okay, this is what we're going to do, in your mind, you would have started coming up with all the reasons why you can't possibly do it. It's not going to work. It's impossible. Anatomically, there's no way. And yet, I watched you all do it in some approximation, even if you needed props. Who cares? You found the way. Those of you with your cameras off, I can't say for certain what you did, but I have faith that you tried. And this is the thing. If you don't abandon yourself, there's a way through. If you don't abandon that feeling of space, that feeling of grace, is that there's a way through. And it's only because you're asked to find it that you will find it. So every obstacle is for your enlightenment. Walk yourself back up, downward facing dog. Now suddenly you're happy that the first thing we're doing is just pigeon, right? Left leg up and back behind you. Down dog split. Bring that knee forward and wide, pigeon pose. It's my favorite when pigeon becomes the, okay, easy and familiar. Make sure your knee is wider than your hip point here, you guys. Again, we get into a habit sometimes of letting it slide in towards the middle because we think that's easier. It's not. Pull it wide. Good. And then set your pelvis, right hip spinning forward. And then walk yourself onto your forearms, your hands, your blocks. Keep your front leg awake so you're pushing through that shin. Good. Left low belly continuing to draw wide. The ability to really press into your hands and get into the strength of your back to do these sorts of things of, okay, well, how do I have to really hollow myself to be able to swing my legs through my arms? Or how do I have to hollow myself to be able to lift my front leg in triangle? Is there may be absolutely no practical reason to be doing that in your life anywhere. You may never need to do that. But to have the ability to access those muscles in your body, I guarantee there's somewhere where that's going to serve you, where it's going to mean that you don't hurt yourself picking something up, or where you're able to accomplish a task without strain. So we do what we do in a yoga practice to make you aware of, bring yourself to an awareness of your capacity, and to build it if it hasn't been used, right? That's the beauty of the obstacles, whatever they are, is that it helps to build your capacity for life. So nothing that you're given is ever outside of your ability to manage. It may push you to your edges, but it's not beyond your ability. That's what we call grace. You're given exactly what you need, even if it is not at all what you want. Take one more breath so you drop in a little bit deeper. And then walk your hands back up, please. Take your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and then hover. So practice this, right? You got to push into your hands. You got to engage your back, your armpits, pull that left knee up and towards your chest. Good. And then step the foot between the hands, lunge. Yeah, that's the quote unquote easy one. Drop the back knee, use a blanket if you'd like, arms to the sky, Anjaneyasana. If you want to see where maybe I'll take you one day, right, is start watching some videos of advanced Ashtangi or Ashtanga yogis and watch what they do in terms of jumping forward and jumping back in transitions. It's nuts. Your options here, hands behind your head, elbows wide, and you're leaning back into that, or you're letting your hands drip down towards the floor. So you're reaching armpits up, but letting your fingers reach for the floor. And same thing, you're lifting through your side body. So pull up, pull up, pull up. And then your shoulder blades rotate under to lift your chest, like there's hands behind your heart holding you up. And then let your pelvis go forward, squeeze your feet towards each other, move your belly back, lean back into space, and hold yourself navel to spine. Good. Knee over ankle, Stacy. So bring it forward more. And then navel to spine, come all the way up. Good. Release the hands down to the floor, both hands inside the front foot. Round your back. Good. And then tucking back toes, lift back knee. Yep. And then bring your left leg up and back to down dog split, because this is the slightly easier way to do this. Good. And then again, if you are sure you're going to need those blocks, grab your blocks. And then you're going to bring that left knee forward, round your back. Again, you got to pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. And then you're going to extend that left heel through your arms into Hanuman. Yeah. Good. I love it if you keep the back knee lifted, but once you get the leg forward, if you want to bring that back knee to the floor, go ahead. Good. Nice, Alice. Good. Chest up, Sue. Yeah, like I said, chest up, Sue, and everybody's chest went up. Yay. Nice, Debbie. Good. And now again, pull in, squeeze the legs in and bring that left leg up and back to down dog split. Bring it all the way back to where you started. Push into your arms. Nice, you guys. Really good, Andra. Good, Susan T. Good, Harriet. Awesome. A nice variation, Allison. Very creative. And then release that foot to the floor. Deep breath in. Drop to your knees. Child's pose. Oh. Crazy thing is you guys come back. I do things like this to you and you come back. So I'm not the crazy one. You're the crazy one. Breathe very deeply. And then walk yourself back up, please. Come to sit, take your legs out in front of you. Lucky you, no more standing up. You're done standing up. Good, keep the right leg extended straight forward, bend your left knee, bring the bottom of the foot to the inside of your right thigh, let the knee drop wide. Good, and then you have an option here. If you want to keep your hips facing straight ahead, keep them facing straight ahead. If you would like to widen your knee into more of that half straddle position, you're welcome to do that. So your hips can either be straight forward or you can start to extend so that the right heel will still be in towards the groin, or sorry, your left heel will be in towards the groin. Right leg will be at an angle. Good. Either way, turn your belly towards that right thigh. Forward fold. Good. Yep. Extend, forward fold over the thigh. Good. Make sure you can feel both sit bones. Beautiful. And then bring your both hands to the inside of that right leg. Right forearm comes to rest towards the floor if it can, or just stay low where you are. Left hand comes to your left hip. Open side body. Good. And use that right arm on the floor. So drag back on that hand to pull your right armpit towards your toes, to pull your right rib cage longer. Good. And then optional, either stay here or take the left arm over the ear, maybe reaching for the toes of your foot. Again, some of you can reach for that. Good. Which also means that if your toes have been falling outward here, you have to pull them in, back up towards the midline. Good. Nice, Alana. Are you breathing into your left rib cage, or are you barely breathing at all? I know that one. Breathe into your left rib cage. Good. Come all the way back up, please. Oh. And then switch. Left leg comes forward. Right knee bends, bottom of the foot to the inside of the left thigh. And again, you can have your hips facing straight ahead here, or you can widen that right knee so you're more at that half straddle. Again, that's up to what your back feels like it wants to do, what your groins feel like they want to do. And then you're turning towards your left leg, whatever position your right knee is in, you're turning towards the left thigh, forward fold. Good. Yeah, if you're using straps around the foot, it's perfect. Good. Let your hands touch something though. If you're not using a strap, let your hands rest on the floor. Good. So Allison, I would take a hand to your inner shin and just keep pressing your shin into your hand. Yeah. So you get more engagement on the outer leg. Good. Nice, you guys. Right low belly is turning inward to allow for that expansion to the left. And that's the thing, right? Is we're asked almost all the time, every practice, we're asked to surrender something so that there can be space. It's the same thing when you're struggling with moving forward, or you're struggling with an obstacle, or you're struggling just being in the moment that you're in, is you let go first of what you're hanging on to. I'm trying to get through. You let go of that. You surrender it. And then grace can move you. Then space can move you. If you're clinging, you will continue to cling. Nowhere else to go. Bring both hands to the inside of the left leg. Left forearm stays towards the floor. Good. Right hand comes to your right hip. Turn your ribs. Good. Good. Try to move yourself back in space. Again, a little bit of that feeling of falling backwards so that your left rib cage is really in line with your left thigh. Your ribs are not popping forward of your thigh. Draw them in. And then either stay here or take the right arm over the ear. Good. Again, reaching for the foot if you'd like, if that's available. Watching that if your toes are falling outward, baby toes falling towards the floor, that you pull your inner thigh down, because by pulling your inner thigh down and in, it will bring your foot up to center. Squeeze that shin in. Nice, Alice. Nice, Teresa. Good, Diane. Nice, Andra. Good, Yasmin. Breathe into your right rib cage. Don't abandon the breath just because this position is maybe challenging. Good. Come all the way back up. Nicely done. Bring bottoms of the feet together, please. A nice long Baddha Konasana, so move your heels a little further away from your pelvis than maybe you normally would. Again, the goal is not how close in can I get, but how can I give my hips space to rotate? So use a block underneath your seat if you need. And then with that nice long Baddha Konasana, let yourself fold forward. Good. If you want to thread the hands underneath the knees, you can. Good. And once you have once you have extended forward from your lower back, so you've actually tilted your pelvis slightly forward to find the forward fold, let your upper back round. Yeah, let your head drop. So don't keep pushing to try and make the forward fold continue to get better, but find the tilt of your pelvis and then settle. Shoulders wide, upper back wide. If having your arms underneath your knees doesn't allow for that, change where your arms are. Good. Nice, Debbie. And walk yourself back up, please. Good. I have one more back bend option for you. So my suggestion is, or the options are, let's put it this way, is that if you can sit comfortably in Virasana, so hero's pose on your shins, and you're able to lie back all the way in that position, that's my suggestion, is to come into Virasana, sitting between your heels, lie all the way back. If that's not available, come onto your back for bridge pose. Good. So either of those options. Good. So you got to widen your feet, Susan T, so that you can sit between your heels, butt towards the floor, and then lean back. Good. So if you are in that Virasana variation and you are leaning all the way back onto your back, then the option here is to bend your elbows, place your hands alongside your ears, so elbows point up towards the ceiling, and you're pushing into the hands, lifting the hips, coming into almost like a wheel variation. So hands alongside the ears, on your back, elbows up towards the ceiling, pressing into the hands, lift your hips, lift your ribs. So it's like you're in wheel. Nice, Susan T. You got it. If you are on your back for bridge, you are doing exactly that. You are lifting your hips into bridge. Good. For those of you who want to play with working with the wheel arms, is you can, before you come into bridge, bend your elbows, place your hands alongside your ears. And as you start to lift your hips up into bridge, but press into your arms and feel that squeeze of your armpits. Feel the squeeze of your upper back. Good. And press into your heels, drag your hips towards your heels. Nice. And if you feel moved to go straight into a full wheel from there, go for it. Good. Finding your breath. If you're still in that Virasana variation, come on down. I don't think anyone is, but just in case. If you're in bridge, one more breath. And then slowly release the hips. Good. Nice shoulder stand, Debbie. Beautiful. Good, you guys. Take a moment. Knees bent. Spine relaxed. Do not abandon that feeling of grace, because it's never not present. What happens is our mind gets narrow and it blocks out anything that isn't immediately necessary for our thought process of pushing through. And so when we forget that that grace is there, we don't fall into it, we run away from it. We become that stampeding elephant. And then sometimes we get really good at blaming the circumstances of our life for the destruction that we help to cause. So don't abandon yourself. Don't abandon those around you, even if they're being stampeding elephants. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Good. Come into happy baby. Draw the knees wide, reaching for the ankles or the feet. Good. Feeling the low back anchor to the floor. So there's a drawing in of the navel. Nice. And there's this feeling that maybe you are drawing the tops of your pelvic bones away from your belly. So you do that first, and then you soften your ribs. So you're expanding into the whole back of the body. Good. And then bring the knees back together. Please stack your right knee on top of your left. Separate the feet, reach for your ankles or your shins. Gomukhasana legs. So you bring the feet wide, and then again, can you draw your low navel in and press the low back down to the floor? And then even as you're holding your feet and you want them to stay wide, can you squeeze your feet towards each other? So that little activation again at the outer hips. Good. And then slowly release, stretch both legs up to the sky. Nice. Let your legs drop wide, straddle. No hands. Thanks, Jeannie. Flex your feet. Feel like you're squeezing your legs towards each other. Navel in. Let your legs go all the way wide. Yeah, there you go. Can't fool me. One more breath. Good. And then nice and slow, squeeze the legs back towards each other. So your inner thighs have to do a little work. I know. They never have to work. Make them work. Awesome. And then knees back in towards the chest. Left knee stacks on top of right. Separate the feet. Reach for the ankles or the shins. I know I shouldn't say that. I don't know how hard your inner thighs work every day. It's none of my business. It is my assumption, though, as most of us, our inner thighs do not work in the way that they are designed to. So even though your feet are wide, feel more of your lower back on the floor, and then squeeze your feet towards each other. So activate outer legs. Good. And then slowly release, legs up to the sky. Yeah. Let them drop wide, straddle. Good. So you're working again, that rotation. So don't let your heels come forward of your pelvis. Pull them up towards your armpits so your legs stay in line with your hips. Good. And then your inner heels are spinning up slightly. Again, for those of you who are pretty flexible in your hips, don't overdo that. Feel like you're squeezing your legs towards each other, even though your thighs are going wide. Good. And then slowly pull the legs back together. Nice. Good on you. Good, Anne. I feel like I haven't seen you the whole class, just your feet. There you go. And then draw the knees in towards your chest. Good. Circle the knees in whatever way you'd like. It's a little massage for the lower back. Beautiful. And then drop your knees to the right, please. You can scoot your hips to the left first. Have your knees stacked on top of each other, hip height or higher. So draw those knees up towards the belly a little bit more. So you're really stacking your hips. And then left arm goes wide or up alongside your ear. Good. Bring the knees back to center, please. Scoot your hips to the right. Drop your knees to the left. And then come back to center, please. Squeezing the knees in, bring your forehead up to meet your knees, hug. And as you hug, press back into your back body, so round. Good, hollow. Shoulders wide. Squeezing doesn't mean you become narrow. Squeezing means you become more conscious. And then slowly release, extending the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you, palms facing up. However often during that practice or already during this day that your mind has gotten caught in its own narrowness, or you've run away from a feeling of space, or you've run away from a feeling of grace, doesn't matter how many times. What matters is that you bring yourself back. You surrender that grip. And whatever you've abandoned in yourself, or whoever you've abandoned in your life, mentally, emotionally. As you invite back in that feeling of grace for you and for them. Breathe very deeply. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Let your body begin to stretch, move, in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. Taking a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, or whatever mudra has been serving. And so the remembrance is that everything, every obstacle is for your enlightenment. It's been placed there, if not divinely on purpose, then certainly we've been led to it for, the purposes of finding your own inner freedom. So whatever is immovable in the world, whatever is immovable outside of you, allow it to move something inside of you, because that's the power that it has. And it has the power to turn you back to a reliance of falling backwards into that feeling of grace, that the way through might not be the way your mind wants it to be, but that there is a way through. And that perhaps in this moment, if you're not abandoning this moment, trying to escape, is that there's something here that will support you, that will elevate you. So we're coming up on Thanksgiving. Don't abandon yourselves. Don't abandon those around you. Love as hard as you've ever loved, even if you're distanced. Be as grateful as you've ever been, even if the world is not at all how you want it to look or be or feel. Right? These are the times where we have to reach deeper and deeper and deeper. And the more there is the same on the outside, the deeper we have to reach on the inside. But nothing that has come into your life is beyond your capacity. And nothing that is outside of you has the ability to overtake that grace if you keep turning to it. So don't be the stampeding elephant. Don't try to escape this moment to the next one. Be exactly where you are and expand. Be exactly where you are and pick from this moment those elements, those things that are your enlightenment, that elevate you already. You are the grace of God, whatever that means. Close with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week. Happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you before then. If you're staying for meditation, you don't need to come off. We'll start that at 11. You can just stay or come off.